Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on New Zealand Sports Radio. It is Saturday, the 1st of November, folks. Only 2 months of 2020 left, and I think quite a few people will be happy that we're coming to the end of the year. In the news this morning, it's going to be heavily into the rugby as we've had the Six Nations kick off, or Six Nations final round of the Six Nations on their Super Saturday. We had the Bledisloe Cup and a record win for the All Blacks yesterday evening. We also had the Farah Palmer Cup final between Canterbury and Waikato that took an injury, or not an injury, took an after the hooter try to win it, as well as Mitre 10 Cup action and Super Rugby Unlocked action as well. I've also got you an update from the Valletta Spania and also from the Formula One as well. So heavy on the rugby side of things, but a lot to pack in. And before we get to the rugby then, let's look in on the Valletta Spania. And yesterday we had the stage 10 results where Primož Roglič won the stage. Now a small gap between riders, a 1 second gap between riders meant that he ended up with on equal time with Richard Carapaz, but got the jersey on countback. There was a protest about this, as before the race it had been designated a bunch sprint, which means that gaps have to be 3 seconds before they count a gap, whereas actually the commissaires decided it was a not a bunch sprint stage, but a small group stage after the stage has started, and therefore a 1 second gap means you get time penalties. A 10 minutes delay and rider protest at the beginning of stage 11 showed their disapproval of the rules changing after a stage had started. So we'll have to see the fallout of that and whether they go back and change it. But currently the times still stand in this one. And congratulate this. We had a mountain top finish in one of the 2 stages that are expected to decide the Tour. Also, the Giro Valletta Spania. Are today and last night's stage and tonight's stage. Stage 11 finished atop of the Alto de la Frapona, and David Gaudu from Group Armour for FTJ. Led the way over the line himself, and Marc Soler of Movistar had broken away. Marc Soler sat in his wheel. I've not seen the finish yet, but my guess is that he didn't contest the stage as he was after time in the general classification, whereas Marc Gaudu was looking for the stage win, which meant they could work together to stay away. Marc Soler climbed up from 10th to 6th in the general classification due to that, but no other changes at the top that I'm aware of at the moment. Gilmar Martin would extend his lead in the mountains classification. As I say, the Queen stage, the big stage, is the one that is coming up tonight. So should be a cracker, and I'll let you all know how that goes tomorrow morning in the morning sports briefing at 7 a.m. here on New Zealand Sports Radio. Also, don't forget that in the cycling, we have the Tour of Southland kicks off today with a team time trial down there in Invercargill. It should be an absolute drag race around the park down there for not a technical time trial. So look, head out there and watch that. Road cycling, obviously being on the road, it's generally free to go watch. So pop on down and look at the start of the Tour of Southland. We'll be bringing you daily updates in the morning sports briefing as to how that race progresses over the next week. Moving on then to the PGA, and in the Bermuda Championship, Tim Wilkinson finished at 3 over par on the after his second round, and unfortunately, as we expected, or as we suggested yesterday, he missed the cut for the weekend's play. The top 68 players, make it into the weekend, and he was outside of the cut for that one. Currently, Redman at 9 under par leads the way, or is tied up at the front with Hickok also on 9 under par. Over in the Grand Prix at the Emilio Romagna GP, Bottas in the Mercedes is on pole, and Lewis Hamilton will be joining him on the front row of the grid. Yet again, Max Verstappen in the Red Bull is in third place on the grid there for that race. Don't forget that you can listen to New Zealand Sports Radio on the go as a podcast. Just download iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio onto your phone, and then search for New Zealand Sports Radio. You can listen to us on the go. Right then, folks, yes, into the rugby news. And as I said, there is plenty of it after the weekend. Yesterday, we saw the Farah Palmer Cup final between Canterbury and Waikato in this one. It finished 8-7, very low-scoring affair, but boy, oh boy, it was a cracking game. Canterbury playing a territory game and getting plenty of time in the Waikato 22, but the Waikato defence was absolutely stunning, keeping out Canterbury for the first 80 minutes of the game. It was 3-0 at half-time. Ali, unfortunately for Waikato, just missed a penalty on half-time to even things up. But Sondra Kotzig had been really leading the way, for really sort of deciding things for Waikato, for Canterbury, and pinning Waikato back. And Waikato decided to play much more of a possession game, trying to play out of their own half a lot, and perhaps didn't manage to do that so well. On 66 minutes, though, they were the first to score a try. They scored that try in the second half to lead 3-7 for most of the second half. And then 1 minute after the hooter had gone, Nels crashed over for Canterbury. Yes, absolute heartbreak for Waikato there. Canterbury take another title in the Farah Palmer Cup. Over in the Bledisloe Cup, and we had the game 3 of the Bledisloe Cup and the first game of the Rugby Championship over in Australia, and we saw an inexperienced Australian side with a new 10, 12, 13 combination. Loliseo, Simone, and oh dear me, not Hunter Pasami, the other guy, Pataya, were in that three. In that sort of centre field combination, and that really we really saw them lose their sort of panic and lose their composure in that first half. Dongunu got a yellow card for taking Caleb Clark out in the air, and to be honest with you, you did wonder why it wasn't a red card, because he did put his arm round Clark's legs, and he came down in the shoulder and hit the ground in the shoulder head area. And it looked like a red card to me in that one. But Dongunu got away with a yellow card there. But we saw Carl sliding over for a try on 8 minutes. And he had 3 players outside him on a big, all of them unmarked. So it's good that he got over. Otherwise, he would have been in some big trouble there. Geordie Barrett then made contact, was leading a leading arm that made contact with the shoulder that slid up and contact with Dane Hallett-Petty's head, and so he got yellow carded for that one as well. So both sides were down a man early in the game, but we had 2 disallowed tries where we had a kick crossfield kick by Richie Mo'unga. Dane Coles got to it first, right out there on the wing. Really, where was the winger? Dane Coles got his hand to the ball, but they're saying that he didn't have proper contact with it all the way down in control, and therefore the try was disallowed. We then had Caleb Clark nearly bashing over in the corner, or nearly going over in the corner, but bashed into bashed out of the in goal. You've got to say, did Corbetta use his arms there, or was that a shoulder tackle? But they didn't look at that, and Caleb and another try went missing. We had a line-out maul that came in field. Richard Mo'unga went to the blind side, and with dummying to Geordie Barrett outside him, he went round the hooker, Lodoseo didn't come up quickly enough and got stepped around, and Mwanga scored in the corner. We then also had a chip over the top, which Mwanga collected and paced to go in. Again, Lodoseo not quite in the right position for that one, and suddenly it was 19-0 after 26 minutes. A line-out maul, and Coles eventually got his try, and it was a 26-0 lead at half-time. And let's be honest, the game was over at that point. Lodoseo did come back to score a try first off in the second half, but really it was all too little and way too late. And we're just talking about the beginning of the second half there, and the game finished 5-43. I'll be honest, I went to bed as it was late before the end of the game because it was quite clear who was going to win that one. And congratulations to the All Blacks on that one. Yes, in there. As someone who says, good morning, go Italy and Ireland, hey? Well, yes, currently England are playing Italy, and it is 5-24 in that one over in Italy. England needing the win and the try bonus point really to apply pressure to Ireland in their game against France coming up at 9 o'clock. As I say, at the moment, that game, England are leading that one 5-24. 5-24 with 56 minutes gone. Earlier, we saw Wales lose to Scotland 10-14, and that's despite Scotland losing Russell to an injury, Finn Russell to injury in the first half, and then also Adam Hastings on the hour mark. Also, they lost him to on the 69 minutes, lost him to injury as well. So both their fly halves off the pitch. Still, Scott Hogg slotted over the winning, over the penalty on 80 minutes to put Scotland clear in that one. Over in the Mitre 10 Cup yesterday, and we saw a red card in the Northland versus North Harbour game. To Stephen Harris's post-match interviews on New Zealand Sports Radio on our Facebook page, all about that one. But good win there for North Harbour, and you've got to say that now puts Canterbury in danger of relegation, as North Harbour have climbed above Canterbury in the table, 20 points to 19 with only 2 games to go. Bay of Plenty will have the opportunity to put Canterbury last later today when they play Hawke's Bay in Battle of the Bays. I will be down in Tauranga for that game, so do keep an eye on our Facebook page for our coverage of that. Also yesterday, in a wet game, Wellington lost to Tasman 3-19. So see Tasman keeping pressure on Auckland at top of the table, who got a good win over Waikato 31-10. They played some real good territory game, pinning Waikato back. Plummer very good with his kicking to the corners, and it looked like it was going to take some time before that would pay off, because for all of the territory, the lead at half time for Auckland was only 14-7, with a disallowed try on half time for Waikato as well. So it was close in that one. In the second half, though, in the last 10 minutes, all that possession, all that territory and possession of managed to tell, and Rayasi got in for his hat-trick try, and Tuipulotu scored for Auckland to pull away in that one there. So that sees Auckland go top of the table in the Premiership. Down in the Championship, Otago won on Friday night to go top there. Northern now climbed up to third in that one. Hawke's Bay will be looking to see if they win Battle of the Bays, could go top in the Championship. They currently sit in second, say Northland in third, Taranaki in fourth, and they play Counties Manukau later today. And we also have Manawatu versus Southland as well. So Cracking day of rugby. As I say, keep it on, keep your eyes on New Zealand Sports Radio. I will be at Battle of the Bays. I'll also be putting up my post-match interviews from that Auckland versus Waikato game as well, where I had a chat with both of the head coaches. So yes, keep your eyes all on that. Another cracking day of sport. Don't forget that the Tour of Southland kicks off today as well with that team time trial. As I say, an absolute drag race, definitely worth getting down to watch if you can do in Invercargill. Hope you all have hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. We'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. with our review show to go through all of the rugby that's happening. And you know, I even forgot to mention so far that we've also got the Super Rugby unlocked as well. Over in that one, the Lions beat the Grickhouse 61-31. Very, very high scoring game there. After the Lions have had some COVID issues and had their games postponed last weekend. Also this weekend, the Pumas lost to the Sharks 19-42, and currently the Bulls are thumping the Stormers 39-6 over there. In Super Rugby unlocked. Some real high scoring action over in South Africa. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and look forward to talking to you this evening at 8 p.m. as we review all of the rugby action from this weekend. And I'll obviously be back at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning with the morning sports briefing. Also, finally, folks, I need to mention that the standoff will not be on Wednesday this week. It'll be on Thursday. The standoff is our league show, and with the State of Origin on Wednesday evening, we decided to move our show back to Thursday so that they can talk about all the action from the State of Origin. So join us on Thursday night for that. Monday night will be swinging from the hips, and Tuesday night the Driving Mall show. So do join us for those shows during the week as well.